Hello, everyone, and welcome to the No Fear Ever podcast. This is a podcast that teaches you how to give fear its eviction notice. I am your amazing host, Deidre Renee, and I am here to help you create a space where fear begins to fear you. Every week, I introduce my amazing co-host, which is my water bottle. She's amazing. And of course, Lucy is here. Hello. So I want to dive right in. Last week, we were speaking about the benefits of having a child mentality, and we really focused on the ugly white shoes. The ugly white shoes had everything to do with walking shoes for toddlers and how I did not like them at all, but the purpose outweighed how they looked to me and how I perceived them to be. I wanted to make sure that my son stayed fly, and the purpose of the walking shoes outweighed what I felt like fly was. A lot of times we are like a toddler. We need to keep trying, keep getting up, and keep going. No matter how many times you are knocked down, make sure that when you're trying to get up and walk again, you have the tools and the resources in order to strengthen your ankles as you continue to put one foot in front of the other. Now, in my first initial episode, I spoke that no fear ever does not mean that you are never afraid and you're never hesitant to try to do something. It's actually the opposite. It means that even in the midst of fear, allow courage and bravery to stand tall inside of you so that you can do the things that seem impossible. It's always impossible until you do it. This week, I really want to hone in on the no fear ever aspect. In the first episode that I put out, I spoke about what no fear ever means. It does not mean that you are never scared. It does not mean that you are never hesitant. It means that in spite of fear, I am not going to allow it to stop my progress. I'm not going to allow fear to prohibit me from what belongs to me, right? And this is when you allow courage and bravery to stand up inside of you and stand tall so that no matter how impossible it seems, it's going to be accomplished. And let's admit this. It's always impossible until you accomplish it, right? So let's deal with no fear ever. This morning I spoke to the parishioners of Refiner's Fire, Kansas City. Hey, shout out. And I spoke to them about having faith for the journey. We are in a series called Faith. And this morning, speaking to them about faith for the journey actually blessed me. It helped me so much. And I pray that some of the things that I shared with them that I will share on this podcast will encourage you as well. I came from Genesis 12:1, where it talks about now the Lord has said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. That's in Genesis 12:1. And I came from that because over 20 years ago, that scripture really helped me to begin to wrap my mind around the possibility of doing things I had never seen done before, of going places that I could not talk to other people that I knew at the time about. You know, like I couldn't talk to anybody about going to Paris or going to Italy. I couldn't talk to anybody about that. Now I can. I have a circle of those who have traveled internationally, but at the time I couldn't talk to anyone about that if I had gone at that time. And so this scripture really helped me to perceive that there was more out there for me. And as I was reading that scripture this morning, even in the first verse, I read more than that, but even in the first verse, it talks about the Lord said this to Abram. Later on, we know that Abram's name changed to Abraham. And as a result of his name changing to Abraham, it was all a result of him taking his first step of faith. The first thing I want to share with you is that you have to be rock solid in your belief system in order to take a step of faith. You have to be rock solid in who you are. Know that the initial situation does not determine your identity in the future. It is all a part of the journey, the process. So you have to be very solid in who you are and what you're called to do, who you are called to be. You have to be very solid in that. And if you're not, 9 times out of 10, you will not take that first step. If you are not solid in who you are, 9 times out of 10, you will not take that first step, that first initial step. That's the scariest step of them all, right? Because everything is unfamiliar, everything is unknown, everything is foreign. And all you want to say, well, for me, I just want my mommy. That's my safe space. I just want my mommy, right? But I had to get to a point where I believed who I was and who I would become so that the journey would be worth it. Have a rock solid belief in your belief system. Something that I'm really learning in this phase of my life is the art of letting go. I have come to realize that I truly love to hang on to things that have made me feel good, that have made me feel safe. I have learned, I have learned that I embrace change because I know everything has to change. Every relationship has to change eventually. Every scenario in your life, it evolves as a result of you evolving. And at first that was very hard for me to embrace. The art of letting go was very hard for me to embrace, but I had to do it. I had to learn how to let go so that I could make room for the new, so that I can make room for the thing that would bring me even more happiness than what I had previously. I had to make room for relationships I never thought that I would have. I had to make room for experiences that I didn't think that I was worthy of. I had to make room for it. And as I have been clearing out old emails, clearing out old phone numbers, last night I realized that I had the number of a girlfriend who passed away last year. And I was thinking, oh my God, I still have it, right? A lot of us have things that have died in our lives. We still have it. That's called clutter. And you may say, oh, I want to keep her number forever. Okay, that's you. But for me, if it no longer serves a purpose, if it no longer benefits my future, then I have to learn how to let it go. It's beyond the numbers that I'm deleting. It's beyond the contacts. It's beyond the emails that I'm deleting. It is strictly about the art of letting go, decluttering my life, decluttering my phone, decluttering my emails, decluttering my mind, decluttering my spirit. I'll be right back after these messages. Hey, shiny girl, your 2022 digital calendar is here, and it also contains space for a planner and journaling. This is sure to assist the woman on the go to stay organized. This is ideal for use on your iPad or tablet. This hyperlink format is compatible with GoodNotes, Notability, and other similar format types. If you don't want to use this software, girl, we have a printable version available as well. Keep track of your personal goals, thoughts from devotion, track your fitness, and so much more. You're a beauty who also knows how to execute. Head over to thedeidrerenee.com and get yours now. Hello and welcome. I'm your amazing host, Deidre Renee, and I'm glad that you came back for the second segment. I want to talk about a 2-night documentary that they put out on Janet Jackson. The second part came out last night, and it was really, really interesting to hear her journey and her story. We all know Janet Jackson. Well, not all of us, but I was born in 73. So the 80s and the 90s, those 2 decades were the era that really gave us great movies and great, amazing music, right? Janet Jackson was a part of that era. And as a result of her coming out with Control and Rhythm Nation, those songs still ring true and loud in my ears. I love those 2 albums from her the most, right? So in the documentary, it was talking about how she wasn't really asked if she wanted to have a role in singing like her brothers. She was thrown into it. She was not asked if she wanted to act. She was thrown into it by her dad. Now, thank God for Joe Jackson. He catches a lot of flack, right? But thank God for Joe Jackson, because if it was not for him, who knows if she had really gone out there and dived all the way in. Janet Jackson wanted to go to study business law. How much would we have missed if she had actually gone through with that plan? So back to the documentary, she knew that her first 2 albums did not do very well, even with the last name Jackson. You have to know this. Let's do a little sidebar. You have to know that it does not matter what you associate with. If you do not hold the contents inside of you to be great and to produce greatness, guess what? It doesn't matter who you are associated with. It doesn't matter what you're associated with. You're going to have to bring it every single time. No matter what industry you're playing a part in, you're going to have to bring it every single time. Every single time. And so she said that the first 2 albums she put out were not good. Okay? They did not do very well, but she was grateful for the experience. She knew that if she really wanted to hone in on the thing that she wanted to produce in her music, allow her creativity to flow, she would have to walk away. She would have to walk away from her father being her manager. And that's exactly what she did. I believe she did that at the age of 17 or 18. And that's when Control came out. The album Control. She wanted to let everybody know, I'm in control of my own life. I'm in control of my own journey. And nobody is going to tell me what to do. No one is going to tell me what to say. I believe she had not been involved in the writing process for her first 2 albums, and she wrote almost everything on her Control album. That album, I believe it sold, I want to say 6 million records, okay? And then a couple of years later, she came out with the album Rhythm Nation. And if you don't know the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the bass line drop. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, Janet. That was a dope album. And just seeing that documentary, I was like, wow, she was really at a young age taking control, right? At a young age, she was taking control of her trajectory for her album. And that made me happy. That made me smile, because I wanted to talk about the fact that even though she walked away from her father managing her, she married men who were controlling. So even though she was singing about control and having control of her own life, she was still giving her control and her power to men that she loved that had drug addictions. How many times have you left one situation? How many times have you left one relationship thinking that everything is great, everything is fine, and all of a sudden you find yourself and realize that you left one thing to go to the same thing? How many times have you been in control of your life and you made the same decision? It was a new day, same decision. It was a new relationship, same decision, same person, right? And she began to take ownership of that. She wasn't pointing the finger, you. No, 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 no. She began to take ownership of the fact that she was not as in control as she thought. And she needed people who were not yes men to surround her and help her make more intelligent decisions. As a result of truly not being in control, she had to, number one, own that. But then number two, she had to have a talk with God and a talk with herself and be honest and say that she needed help, that she needed to be surrounded by a different circle so that she would know that she did not have to fear herself. She did not have to fear her own decisions. She did not have to fear the fact that she was going to choose the same man over and over and over. No, that's why she was doing the work. That's why she began to put in the time to have quiet time, to go away and seclude herself from the world so that she could really, really, really center herself. How many of you are making the same decision and packaging it differently? It is time for you to reintroduce yourself to yourself. And that is going to require you taking the time to be rock solid in your belief system so that you can know that you can do anything. Anything is possible. Absolutely anything is possible. Ladies, this beauty is a beast now carries hoodies that are so soft and sweatshirts. You know it's cold outside, girl. But don't forget, we also carry accessories now. Look at this mug. You guys grab it and remind yourself every day that you're beautiful and you are always executing. Go to www.thedeem.renee